an autistic child. It's a therapy. It's if you don't have social abilities, this is a way of getting social abilities to be comfortable.
Well, it's no different
So,
than any other
yeah, so
hobby. I mean, it's
I
like
kept
some
on
people like to go to the gun
encouraging
range and
him.
shoot guns, and
yeah, but
some
I
people
kept
like
on,
to go to the opera, and some people like to dress up in crazy costumes.
yeah,
Well,
but I kept on,
it's all the same
I kept
thing.
on going with him. Every time he wanted to do something, I helped him out, finding things to make his costumes, make them better, and stuff like that. And, you know, when he did Shazam,
That was another good one.
you know, that was a pretty tough one when he was doing that, and he had a lot of fun troubles with that one.
Hey,
But you did come around with the next V2 version that came out really awesome too.
well, you know what else too? When I did Shazam, I was at San Diego Comic-Con. DC Comics actually took my picture and put it on their Instagram page.
Yeah.
Oh yes, I remember that. That was pretty cool.
Yeah, I think Cypher saw that, but it's just, yeah, with the Crow though, I remember the next year when I went to Rose City, I got to do the costume contest, and you know, when I got the applause, I was like, okay, finally I arrived. That's when I realized, okay, everyone was accepting me and looking at me differently, because what also made me feel good was like, I'm big fans of like the well-known cosplayers that are like famous in the community, and when they started liking what I was doing, that's when I realized, okay, I'm arrived. But the bottom line though, why I got into cosplay is I wanted to make friends, and what's kind of funny is, and ironic is, the people that I'm in this room with right now, I would have never met any of you if it wasn't for cosplay. I would have never met Cypher.
Yeah.
I would have never met you, Wes. I would have never met Brandy or Cassie or anybody, and I mean, it changed my life. But
The whole group itself has been the thing that actually got a lot going. For me especially, because every time I actually did an event with Cypher, he was doing his go.
yes.
So, I mean,
I love that.
I didn't
Photoshop
really,
I will never
I
see
did not
Goku and
really
not
see
think
him
of him.
doing other cosplays but Goku.
That
So-
one photo that he has of him like shooting the fireball out of his hands or whatever that he photoshopped or whatever, that's a freaking
the
cool
Kamehameha.
photo.
And I actually showed Sean Schmel that.
He also designed the banner for our group and
Yeah,
helped come up
yeah.
with a new name after we had
But you know, like,
naming problems.
when I sat there and I wanted to do something that actually had some more meaning to, and I wanted to have a group, something that was for the anime community. Well, Dragon Ball has been around since 1984 and has the largest fandom in the world.
Wow, it's not old.
The largest fandom. I'm talking about billions of fans. I can't go anywhere without running into fans.
I feel kind of bad knowing that I know next to nothing about it.
You should sit there and start watching it, dude. It's actually really good. It was kind of like one of those breakthrough animes that kind of crossed from American and Japanese. But I love all the voice actors. I'm such good friends with all the voice actors. I'm going up to see 2 of them tomorrow and everything. One of them was a Goku voice actor too. So keeping this, doing this. When I was at Rose City, Sean Schmel actually asked me for a picture.
It's pretty awesome.
Instead of me asking him, he asked me for a picture. I was like, yeah, sure. He also asked if I would do the Kamehameha. I was like, I don't have vocals like you.
The one cosplay I always wanted to see Glenn do was Skeletor.
Yeah.
He had the Skeletor laugh down.
Well, you know
pat.
what? We all have our...
Has he ever hear it? Yeah.
Yeah.
He was so good at that.
You know, we all have our thing, whatever is sister and goes with the person. But to like for me, this is me. I'm gonna sit there and do Goku as much as I can, as long as I can, or I'm gonna help a bunch of people to sit there and build costumes and stuff. But there's so much that can be done with Dragon Ball that it's a really amazing costume set of things. And I am really super excited that in June I am getting the voice actor for Kid Goku as a personal guest at my con in Salem. She's going to be at my table as my guest.
That's pretty awesome.
What con is it?
It's the Mid-Valley Comic Art Expo.
Oh, cool.
It's the new Salem Comic Con.
Yeah, the other one they had there, I think, isn't around
But
anymore.
you know Floyd Mansomer?
Heard of the name.
You've
Yeah.
probably seen him around. His friend Steve is the one that runs that.
Oh, okay.
So I'm very good friends with him and stuff like that, so I actually helped organize getting that guest.
Hey, you know, Brandy, you mentioned about cosplay's like a therapy thing. This is the one thing I do miss about Cypher, because like when I first got into the community, some people, let's just say, kind of kept their guard up because I'm autistic, and well, growing up with it, it was not easy because I had some people treat me differently. Sometimes they would treat me like I was a freak because I have autism, and they didn't know what it was or anything. But basically, when I was growing up, if you had it, people that knew that were not nice, they could take advantage of that because they could make fun of you and bully you because they know, hey, he's different, we can pick on him and he won't do anything about it. Well, that's the one thing I loved about Cypher when I first met him. He didn't care I had autism, or same with you, Wes. You guys were like the first ones to say, hey, welcome, you know, we can help you get better. And I mean, same with you, Brandy. I'm just glad you guys opened up the door and didn't shoo me out or, you know,
Hey.
standoffish or
I
anything.
just saw my oldest son just get married, and he's living on his own,
Yeah.
and he's doing great. His first independent flight was not a flight anywhere in the US. He went out of the country, his first independent flight. He's autistic. He managed to do all his booking and everything. He managed to plan his wedding and everything all by himself without asking me for help. The boy's got a head on his shoulder. When I sit there and look at certain aspects of autism, there is one, when they hear that they have Asperger's, I just call it the Einstein syndrome. Because it's really what it is. It's that same level of autism that Einstein had. Kids that have that can build rockets and go to the moon, you know? It's like, you can't judge a book by a cover.
Agreed, and that's what I love about the cosplay community, because I mean, it's a pretty good community. I mean, some of my best friends are cosplayers, but you know, I'll say this, when I first told my family I wanted to do it, they kind of weren't really, let's just say, they didn't know what to make of it. They're like, what is that? I mean, they didn't know what it was. I mean,
I think my mom did the same
It
thing
is kind
to
of a
me.
strange hobby.
well, yeah, because like the first time they heard it was, I'll never forget this. I was watching this movie called The Internship with my brother and sister. It's an Owen Wilson and Vince Vaughn movie. And one part in the movie, a woman says, hey, you guys should go to a party and cosplay Luke Skywalker and Han Solo. And then when she said that, I popped, I was like, I know what that is. That's people that dress up at cons. And my brother and sister were like, oh, that's what that is? But then what's funny is once they saw me going to cons and enjoying myself, then they realized now I get it why you like doing it. Because my dad, what's funny is he didn't get it at all, but now every year I want to go to Emerald City. My parents often go with me because it's like, well, this works out great. We can see the city, and RJ can go to Emerald City Comic Con. So everybody wins. So now I kind of got them on board with it.
You know what, before I moved to Oregon, there was no cosplay thing going on.
It didn't really take off
Did
until
it?
2008.
Yeah, it didn't really
Really?
happen.
Yeah.
Where
That's
I was
did it
looking
back
at,
in
we
the
didn't
90s.
have none of
Boy, was
that.
it frowned upon
I
back
moved
then.
here in
Yeah, I know.
2013, and the minute I started doing cons, I was vending cons at 2014 on up. I pretty much, I came to the very first Rose City before Rose City was Rose City.
I was
And it was
there.
underneath the Veterans Coliseum. It was like underground.
Well, what year was this?
It was 2012.
Wasn't it at the hotel by the Light
No,
Center?
no, it was actually in the Motor Center, in the underground part of that area, because I remember that. And
Oh.
I actually traveled from North Carolina out here to meet an artist and then go home 24 hours later. But the minute I was exposed to people cosplaying, I was sitting like, okay, this is my family. Because I always loved doing costuming and stuff. And when I found out costuming and doing charity work and having an excuse to costume year round, yeah. So
Yeah, it's a win-win-win for everybody.
Yeah.
I mean, you put all this work into the costume, it's like you might as well wear it more than once.
and I like doing makeup effects for films and stuff like that. So costuming just comes in very natural to what I like doing. So when we when I discovered this group and stuff like that, and Nelson is like the happiest, but I never actually found my actual costume that actually fit me, like I was gonna be like that person, but no, everyone else always had their one thing that they did and it just rocked, and I'm sitting here like, I don't know what to do. I'm a tall girl, so it's like I don't fit too many things, so doing this, just proving the fact that a girl can do this and still get a lot of compliments doing it.
I really wish that Glenn could see what you've done. He'd be so proud.
He would totally flip if he saw everything that's going on right now.
Yeah, he'd be neck deep in that stuff with you.
Yeah, you know what else? I think he would be proud of all of us how far we come, because like when you and Glenn first met me, like when I started going to cons, I was just wearing store-bought stuff you can get at like, you know, a costume shop, and I'm not burying any of those stores because Spirit has some cool stuff and everything, but it's just like when I started going to these things and I would see, you know, you dressed up as Indiana Jones, Cypher's Goku, or whatever, some of my favorite cosplayers dressed up as like, you know, certain characters, I just say to myself, how did they do this? I mean, they look like they just walked off a movie set, or they walked out of the comic book.
I don't know.
It's like, well, how come my stuff doesn't look like that? And I'm just glad you and Cypher and everyone, you know, Brandy just said, well, this is how you do it. And then when I figured it out, I was like, oh, that's how it works.
So for me, like, I have gone into making armor and stuff like that, so I can do a lot of armor builds now.
Cool.
And what I do is when I look at a character and I just analyze it and I break it down into pieces. And then I'll sit there and I'll start doing a lot of Google searching. You become real good friends with Google. And then you start finding things that work, you know, whether it's boots, pants, shirts, whatever.
Wigs.
If it's that kind of character, a lot of times you can find stuff. If it's other types of things, you have to look a little deeper. But nowadays, we have access to doing so many things.
It's way easier than it used to
And
be.
I have been learning how to do EVA foam armor builds. So I'm getting excited. It's like I have patterns for a lot of different kind of builds and stuff like that, so I can do all kinds of cool stuff. And it just keeps me going, and it's really exciting when you do that. You know, I think just keeping the spirit going, not letting it die. Because
I remember I really had to twist Glenn's arm to get him to join the group. He's like, that's stupid. You guys are just showing off. That was one of the favorite things he said. People cosplay so they can show off, and you're just giving them an excuse to do it. It's like,
but you know what? Right now, he'd probably be more proud of the fact that the group is still functioning, whereas every other group is not.
And I'm never changing that banner. He designed that banner from scratch.
I remember.
We're keeping that banner for forever.
I thought he was the one who encouraged you to start the group, though, if I'm not mistaken.
No, I had that group going for years before he finally got in there.
I thought he was the one who said you should start your own group, though.
He ran the group for a while I was down and going through some
I remember.
bad stuff, and
We could never
he
get you to
stepped
come
up
to
and
events.
took over for about a year and a half there.
Well,
He was running the whole show.
yeah, but I need to ask, like, or was it your idea to let me join your group, or was it his, or
It was my idea.
But he got along, he was on board with it?
I think you actually joined before he did.
Oh, I thought he was already in the group.
I don't think so.
Oh.
That was a me and Shannon thing. We wanted you on board because we knew you could be a valuable member if we could just invest some time in you.
Yeah.
And I'm just glad you guys gave me a shot, because like I said, because this is about Cypher, I wouldn't have got to know him if I didn't get in the group, but it's just, man, I still miss him. I mean, there's a lot of new video games coming out, and I would love to play them with him. I mean, like, for example, I don't know if he liked wrestling games, but there's a new wrestling game that's coming out on one again. I bet he would have had a great time playing that, you know, with, you know, me being a tag team, we could just, you know, have fun, or playing that Ninja Turtles game that just came out, that's at Ground Control. I mean, every time I see Ninja Turtles now, I think of him.
I remember, I have a lot of good football memories with Clint. We played a lot of football.
Oh, I gotta hear this, I love football.
He cornholed some chick and ended up breaking her ankle.
Oh, gosh.
Oh, God.
It's like, maybe we should start tackling a little bit higher up on the body so that people can live to play next week. Or we were playing this one game in Oregon City. There were a whole bunch of guys out there. There were like, ex-college guys and semi-pro guys and all. It was a pretty good group of guys to play with if you like playing football. And there was this one guy out there that had hair like all the way down his back, really long hair. And he was quick, so Glenn wanted me to guard him. He's like, you guard the guy with the long ass hair. And I was like, how do you know how long his ass hair is? And he didn't get it. I love it when I tell a joke and he doesn't get it. There was another time we were out there, he was complaining that his hamstring was hurting him or whatever. And I was like, well, you can just take some Icy Hot or Ben Gay or something like that and smear it on there and it'll feel better. He's like, oh, okay. I have Ben Gay. And I was like, oh, how recently? And he didn't get that one either. I told that one to his wife and she nearly died and he still didn't get it even after I repeated it the second time. Oh, good stuff. I've got a picture of us. I've got a little shadow box of him at home that has the Sanosuke headband that he always wore. I don't know if you guys ever saw him wear that red headband.
Was that when he played football?
Yeah, he wore that a lot when he played football.
Yeah, I think I saw that when
Yeah.
he had a Giants jersey on, you had a Raiders jersey on.
Yeah, Carolyn gave me that headband, so it's in the shadow box. And she also gave me the watch that he always wore, so I've got that in the shadow box too. And then I've got a picture of us kissing at his wedding.
You know, Wes, speaking of football, I did talk to a little bit with him about the Giants, because I know he liked the Giants. Do you know who his favorite player was?
Jeremy Shockey.
That's a good pick. I was a big fan of him. I wish I would have known he liked...
I always called him Boromir in a football jersey, because he looked like Boromir from Lord of the Rings.
Well, you know, I wish I would have known that, because I collect sports cards. I could have got him a Jeremy Shockey rookie card for him.
Yeah, he wore that Jeremy Shockey jersey until you couldn't even see the numbers.
Yeah,
He wore it every single week we were out there.
Yeah.
That's where he got the Gondorian football passes from, because it was Jeremy Shockey, he was Boromir, so it's like, okay. Well, you know how the football players, when they catch the ball in the end zone, they always point to the crowd? Well, we're just going to be pointing to Gondor.
Man, you know, that's one thing I'm regretting. I wish I would have asked him who his favorite player was, because when I was in high school...
You never knew?
No, Jeremy Shockey was my favorite tight end in high school. I liked him because he just looked tough. I mean,
yeah, he would. I remember I saw one play where he got hit so hard that his helmet fell off. But he didn't go down and kept going. He dragged the guy for like another 8 yards without his helmet on. With like a whole bunch of guys piling on top of him.
Yeah.
Like, that guy's got some stones.
Yeah, because like when I started watching football more, I remember when I was in high school, that was one guy I liked, because I just liked the way he looked. I mean, he was big, he had tattoos all over him. I mean, he looked like a tough guy that you didn't want to mess with.
He was a pretty tough guy, yeah.
Yeah, man,
a lot of passion. He played with a lot of passion.
If I knew Cypher would have liked him, you know, I have buddies that gets autographs. I probably could have got him an autographed photo of Jeremy Shockey and gave it to him. I bet he would have loved that.
He would have loved that.
Yeah, I wish I would have known. Man, I'm going to kick myself now for not knowing that.
Well, you know, like all my prior stuff to doing this, I'm a professional comic book artist, so it also put me in line with a lot of Hasbro people and stuff, and a lot of voice actors. So when I started doing the Dragon Ball stuff, I have also gained all those voice actors in my friends list and everything, so I've gotten to do a lot of stuff with a lot of the OG voice actors and everything. And even when I was up there at Rose City, I got Chris Savat's email, and he wants me to do some artwork for him. He actually went and took some art prints that I did up there to Sonny Strait and Damon Mills. Sonny does Krillin and Goku's father, Bardock, and Damon just took up doing Frieza.
Oh yeah, I met them.
Yeah, and it's like really cool, the connections that I've managed to gather from all of this. But you know, within this whole pandemic, we've lost a lot of people.
Yeah.
We even lost.
Seems like the passion just isn't quite there like it was before.
Mm-hmm.
But it's there. Don't let it. It's still there. Trust me. But you know, during let's see, it's been about a little over a year now. But we just lost Chris Ayers, and he was Frieza. He had COPD and also had to have a lung transplant. And me and Anthony were talking to him and stuff before he passed away. And then I think we had another one of, I don't know which version of the subs or dubs, but it was a Goku voice actor. He passed away. But this was all within this pandemic. So we've lost a lot of people, a lot of amazing people throughout all of this. And it's so hard hitting right now for a lot of people, but it's people like us that just kind of keep that spirit going. So people like her still have people like us around. So
You know,
we need to keep it going. We need to not let it die out just because we lose someone or anything.
No, I'm not planning on hanging up my shield anytime soon.
me either.
I may be an old goat, but I think I've still got
I think I will be doing
a
this
little bit
until
of
the
steam
day I
left
die.
in me.
And guess what? I just turned 49, so hey.
I'm gonna be 34 in
I'm
December.
43 and I can still run 3 miles in 15
No, we're the
minutes.
same age.
You know, I'll
You're 43?
Yeah.
Oh.
I can't believe I just turned 49 and I'm still
Well,
doing this.
This year I turned 18.
I turned 19.
Oh,
Yeah.
jeez.
you
You
guys are
kids.
so
We're
young.
just
I thought when I turned 30, I blew my music career, but I'm hoping that can still work. But I also,
You still look
You
like
know-
you're 12,
you know
RJ,
what?
so you're okay.
You know what this type of thing is though? It's
Thanks,
for
Wes.
us that do this, and we try to encourage to everyone that wants to do something in their life is to do it and not let anyone tell you you can't do
And
it.
don't wait.
Do not wait.
Get
Do
after
not
it.
wait for that right moment, because there is no right moment but the right now moment. So
agreed.
If
if you
there is
want to
anything
sit
I've-
there and
oh,
do
sorry.
something, do it.
Oh, Wes, what were you about to say?
If there is anything I have learned from Cypher dying and my dad dying, it is that life is short. And it is way too short.
And that was my thing with him though, is he kind of wanted you to live life like it was gonna end tomorrow though. Like,
That's how,
yeah.
that's,
you know,
that's
he
what-
encouraged Cass to do whatever they wanted. He's like,
Yeah.
because that was my thing. It's like how RJ was talking about he didn't treat him differently. He didn't treat anyone differently.
You
Like
didn't?
if you watched him interact with people, he didn't see what was different about you. He saw what was the same about
Yeah.
you. He saw what he could relate to and what the
Mhm.
people should be able to relate to. And
Yeah.
that made him so great. Like when he came, it wasn't that Cass was in a wheelchair, it wasn't any of this stuff. It was Cass liked the same stuff he did. They liked to talk about video games. They liked to talk about these things. You were doing the Skeletor laugh. It actually reminded me of when we heard the Skeletor laugh was during Super Fight.
And
Because Cass played He-Man.
Ah, nice.
I picked his character that won, and then he did the laugh because he beat He-Man.
It caught me so off guard because I had not heard him laugh like that up until that.
Yeah.
And
I
it was so
always
good.
wanted to do the Skeletor laugh because he was so good at it.
You know, Wes, I wanted to also add this. I know I've been talking a lot, but I think I need to say this. I've been wanting to say goodbye to Cypher since he passed away, but unfortunately, because the pandemic hit 2 years ago, we never got a chance to do it. Now we're finally here doing it. So, I mean, it's been great being here and talking about memories, but I'm glad now we're here and we can finally say goodbye to him. Just say, hey buddy, we miss you. We think about you all the time. We wish you were here, but we know you're in a better place. So
We love you.
yeah, we love you, and you're our brother, you're our friend, you're our mentor. We miss you every day, and we're finally here to say goodbye and just say, hey, one day we'll see you again. I know I'll see you again, and when it's my time to go, hopefully it's not going to be for a long time, but I know you're going to be at the gates just saying, what took you so long, man? We got to catch up. Let's go play a video game, or let's go to a con, or hey, you got to check out this new Ninja Turtles game that just came out of here, or something like that. I mean, I know he's going to say that once he sees me again, and I'm going to give him a big hug and
And that's what he
say,
said the last time we saw him. He was on the way out and he's still like, dude, you guys gotta check out this new Turtles game.
yeah. I mean, I have not played that video game since we played it with him, and that game was fun, man.
That was a pretty awesome game.
Yeah, it was. I loved it, but it's just, man. I mean, it feels weird that we're saying goodbye to him after 2 years. I mean, it feels good. We're here to say goodbye, but
Yeah.
I mean, he'll always be with us. He's gonna be in our hearts. He's gonna be watching down, and I'm pretty sure, like what happened to me earlier when I saw that guy that had hair that looked like him. I think that was him basically saying to that guy, "I'm here. I'm watching over you." So I have a feeling as we go throughout life, we're gonna see stuff that's gonna be reminded of him and say,
Oh,
hey,
yeah.
I'm still here.
Almost every day.
Yeah.
No, he's one of those guys that it's not gonna matter. Like, you could start forgetting all kinds of stuff in my old age, and there's no way. Like, he's one of those people that's, you're stuck with that, with those
Yep.
memories.
Yeah.
Like,
Yep. I kind of felt like I was stuck with him from the minute I met him.
I have forgotten so many things before, but that is something that will always stick in my memories. And one of the reasons why is because he was there when nobody else was.
well, and he didn't
Yeah.
leave. I mean, when I talk about he came to the hospital to hang out, he
He
showed up, he had
stayed.
just done a magic wheelchair release. Like, they went and did a warthog thing,
Mhm.
and that was like 11 o'clock. And at noon, he showed up, and he didn't leave until they made him leave at like 9:15. He was there all day.
Yeah.
The
Good
hospital
for him.
staff,
He ate lunch and dinner with us in the room and played games for 9 hours.
and the hospital staff actually had to make him leave.
Yeah, he's like, are you sure? You can just sneak me out later.
Yeah, that sounds like him.
I think we had the Xbox in there for a little bit too. Like, it was like
Yeah.
video games and board games.
Well, that just
and,
means he was having fun.
yeah,
I
it was
think
great.
If I remember correctly, we specifically played a versus game where him and I had to fight against each other, and we would take turns going against him.
I also remember laughing because he showed up with his wig on,
Yeah.
and then he took it off, and we're like, look, it's the same
Yeah.
person.
If you wanna find my group, that's my group.
Oh,
Oh, hey Wes, I also wanted to add to this too, because one of the first hospitals we did was visits we did was Providence, and that place will always be special to me because my grandmother, she just turned 92. She had been volunteering at that hospital for I think over 50-something years or something. So when we got to go do that and go and see the kids
Yeah.
there and cheer them up,
We
and
had some pretty darn good events there. too.
yeah, it was fun. I miss doing that. I hope we get to do that because if there's one thing I'll never forget when we go see those kids and cheer them up, that when you see them like that, it makes you think, geez, I got to get my priorities straight because what I'm going through, it's nothing compared to what they're going through, and they're tough. They're warriors. So, I mean, I miss going there with him because I love doing those events with
That
him
is one
and
word
with
that would
you.
describe Glenn very, very well.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things that had us bond right away. Is I had spent like my whole life trained to be a warrior, so I was,
Yeah.
pretty far down the path even when I was in my 20s. And when Glenn and I first met, he was always picking my brain on how I did my training and how I did my fighting and all this stuff. So we went from like the pupil teacher type thing to being equals very quickly, just because he had the dedication to get the job done. And then, all the training and being a warrior. I mean, being a warrior is way more than just knowing how to fight and how to keep in shape and how to take care of yourself. Being a warrior is about taking care of other people. And, that just kind of spilled over into like everything else that we were doing in our lives. And,
Yeah.
I mean, if Glenn could have you say one thing about him, you'd say he was a warrior. That's what he would want you to say about him.
He was, and you know what else he was? He was a good friend. He always had your back. And
Yeah.
that's one thing I miss about him. He was always reliable, and he was someone I could trust. I knew he was never going to stab me in the back because I've
If
had.
he said he was going to be there, he'd be there,
Yeah.
He was a warrior that fought with his heart, 100%.
He was.
undoubtedly. Yeah.
Unwavering.
Boy, did he have heart, man. He had a lot of heart.
Yeah.
And he didn't do anything that
Are
was
we gonna
against
watch
his heart.
this movie or not?
I want everybody to just get out what they need to get out, and then we'll watch the movie.
Okay.
Are we done? Has everybody said what they feel they need to say, or?
Well, I got one more thing to say. Cypher, I'm going to look up to the sky. We miss you, buddy. We're thinking about you all the time. We miss you. We love you. And until we see you again, just, have fun up there. And we can't wait to catch up with you one day. Godspeed, my friend. We miss you. We love you. Take it easy, buddy.
That was well said, sir.
If I could tell them anything, it'd be thank you for encouraging cast to follow their dreams and do what they want. I mean, they had their first
Yeah.
Comic-Con booth this year because they had the confidence to do it, and he helped create that confidence. So
Yeah.
now they're going to make a cosplay in honor of him.
That's
So,
awesome.
He gave him the strength to fight the last couple of years, because the last couple of years have been really hard on me.
Wait
I
till you
think the
meet the
hardest
rest
is
of
we
my
started
group.
these last couple of years in the hospital,
Sorry,
and he was dying and we couldn't go see him. And so we talked to him from the hospital, but we were stuck there. So,
Mhm.
I think that was one of the things that hit Cass the hardest was they didn't get to say goodbye. We did say goodbye, but it was on the phone.
Goodbye.
And it was like a goodbye, I'll see you another time, not
Yeah.
a goodbye.
It was more of a
And
see you
you
later.
know- And you know something too, he was the leader of this group with him, but we also lost another leader of the other.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
And this was like within months of each other. So it hit us like doubly hard, knocked us down. But the only thing different is that this group was still going. The other one, they gave up because they didn't know how to handle it. And that's something is that those of us that are still here and is still wanting to do, we're still gonna be here to do what we can do.
Well, I would love to see us all get to do something together, like put something together, like as a cosplay group in his honor, like at an event, something for him.
Yeah,
To
that'd be
remind
nice.
people that he was important and that
Yeah.
we're not gonna give up and we're gonna keep doing this because he would want us to.
I would like to say something.
I did not know this warrior gentleman, but I can just assume from what I've heard about him and from the way you guys are speaking about him that he was the match that lit the fire underneath your seats.
Yeah.
Yes, he was.
You pretty much put it,
Good or bad,
You
yeah.
probably have dynamite underneath the seat.
you pretty much hit the nail on the head. That's pretty much it. You're right.
Sometimes we get a little too hot, burn your ass.
Sometimes you wouldn't use the match at all, sometimes you just bend you over.
Hey, Wes, I don't mean to sound rude, but if he was here right now, he'd probably say, okay, guys, we talked long enough. Let's get that movie fired up right now.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
I can hear him say that right now.
Yeah,
Now
I
that you
really,
already talked
really wish
about
you
me
would have been
enough.
able to see the finished product, because he did such a good job in that movie.
Yeah, well, he's probably saying, what are we waiting for? Fire it up.
All right, are we all through?
Yeah.
All righty.
Fired up.